Culture. HBCU Pulse always has you on lock. From the shade room to your favorite news feed, and now on your TV and radio. We are the number one outlet for HBCU culture. Follow HBCU Pulse on social media and visit hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community.
Wow, what's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio, here in the building for another special edition of the show on today, where we are doing an interview for a new book that's coming out. Guess what? About College Hill. It's called The HBCU Experience, America's First Black Reality TV Series. It's from the same folks that made the other HBCU Experience books that we've been doing the interviews for. I think probably for the past year, on and off. And the last book, of course, was the Grambling State University edition. Amazing crop of alumni that were in that book. So now we're going to do College Hill, a book about College Hill. College Hill is out now on BET Plus. Episode 3 came out on today. There's a lot of stuff going on, real positive, but there's a lot of other stuff going on. If y'all know, I do my recaps of it, so make sure to check it out. I'm going to do episode 3 really soon, but I had to get prepared because I got a superstar in the building. I interviewed him less than a year ago. We talked about a lot of stuff. We have Ray Cunningham, Mr. Ray, in the building, talking about a superstar. He is College Hill at this point. He is College Hill. All right. So let's go on and bring Ray Cunningham on. Ray, how you doing?
Well, what's going on, sir? It's been a year.
It's been less than a year. We interviewed in like July.
Yeah, it was about July because the show was airing. I did for right around my episode time. So yeah, how you been?
Man, I've been great. I've been, like watching College Hill, just seeing all the moves. And first and foremost, you're making a lot of moves. So first and foremost, how are you doing? You get into the bag.
Booked and busy, but blessed and very thankful and very humble to legitimately still be working and new opportunities coming up, the opportunities to go back to my roots and work with BET Plus, Tracy and Edmonds, and seeing what College Hill is doing. And like I said, every time that show comes back with celebrities, it makes people who were fans of the original concept come back to us that started that original show and want to check in with us and see what we're doing. And, myself, along with a handful of others, we're in the public eye working. Lisa's on Dubai Housewives on Bravo. Dorian just had a show on, I believe, on MTV and has his skincare line. And a number of other people, Willie Mack and his commercials. So, like I said, keep putting the celebrities on there because all it does is make people get irritated and want to go see what we are doing and wonder why we're not back. But then they see what we're doing and that we're all busy and working in our own respective lanes. They kind of get it.
Yeah, and it's so crazy seeing Willie Mack on those commercials because I'm like,
I know he's in everything.
He really is. He's in that one about the insurance where like the young folks act like their parents. And I'm like, is that Willie Mack? I'm like, man, he's in every commercial.
You laying down watching TV, and Willie Mack's in a KFC commercial, a Taco Bell commercial, a Subway commercial. I mean, Willie Mack is everywhere, which is cool because people understand commercials are good residual.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're always on TV. Like, it's never like this time slot is booked. Your show isn't on yet. You're on every channel, on every show. That's a different type of clout. But let's talk about the HBCU Experience, America's First Black Reality TV Series, before we get into this round 2 of questioning, because we did an interview before. So tell me how you're feeling about being in this book, which I believe is the first definitive book about College Hill.
This is the first ever, and I'm going to say it's authorized because it's coming from us, the cast, from our positive perspective on the show and how it impacted our lives, our cast members' lives, friends and families' lives, and what we're doing now. I didn't realize it was the 20th anniversary until I looked up. I don't know. I was online one day and somebody said, wow, College Hill came on 20 years ago. Well, I'm thinking about my season. I was like, oh, we're 18. We ain't 20, we 18. I said, oh my God, we're season 3. This is 20. Wow. So I knew of Dr. Ashley Little. I was originally supposed to do the HBCU experience for Virginia State edition. Remember, that was during COVID, so
Yep.
it just was awkward timing, and I just wasn't really. I was writing my own book at that time, my book, so I didn't participate in that. But she did extend the offer for me to be the co-lead author of that book, and I pretty much knew how she worked. You know how she is, no NDA, sign the NDA, don't say nothing, don't tell nobody, be on time and meet these deadlines. And so I hit her up and I was like, "Hey, girl, would you ever do one for College Hill?" And she was like, "Well, how does this work? Did they all go to HBCUs?" I said, "Well, we're not going to get everybody." I said, "I'm going to extend the offer to everybody and see who's available to do it." And majority of us turned out, about a good 15 of us turned out for it. And it's just been a journey, just going back, telling those stories, thinking about those old moments that have never gone away. And they are more popular now than what they were when they actually aired. Like, people are making TikTok memes of the fight scene with Crystal and Vanessa now. I got people running up to me, I haven't bought a Hennessy drink in like 18 years. Any city, any state I go to, any club, gay or straight, somebody's gonna pass me a Hennessy shot. Now, I gotta check it and make sure ain't no pill and no Molly in it now, because
big facts.
I'm crazy these days. But it's been all positive feedback, even from when Ashley dropped the announcement with the coming soon. People were shocked and surprised and excited. Everybody's waiting to see what the stories that we have to tell. So,
hey, I've been excited too, because like when you look at it and the fact that it's been 20 years, and it's something about what streaming does, because when they put the Virginia State season and the Virgin Islands seasons, then the subsequent seasons following, because my favorite season is season 3. I haven't changed on that. I've never wavered on that. Season 4 was dope. Season 4 is very much akin to this celebrity edition season for a lot of things that I've seen. But like season 3, it was like the real HBCU experience. And I gotta ask you about that to start off. Cause I have questions planned, but I gotta tell you what I saw. So, with College Hill, it was a great experience, and a lot of folks at that time were rocking with it. And you set up the interviews that I did with the season 1 and season 2 cast, and with the season 2 cast, we talked about sort of the negative side of it and how they would do certain things differently. So I was doing my research even before I knew about the book, and I saw an article where they talked about the distinct difference between season 2, season 3, and Season of the Tiger about Grambling. And they said when Reggie Hutland came in, like season 3 was a totally different show from season 2, because it seemed to be a little bit more positive. It had, the college elements of it, the partying, the cognac and all of that, but it seemed more positive. So I gotta get your perspective on that. Like, is that a right perspective and depiction from someone that was on that season?
I would say that is accurate. I will say that season 3 stood out first. Everybody you talk to going forward, all the authors from this book will say their season is the best season, or they love their season. I believe that season 3 resonates with so many people our age or that are fans of the series, because the special ingredient that made that season successful was because we all were friends, or we knew each other prior to the casting. Now, did we all audition together? No, because as you know, I didn't audition. They came and found me because people kept talking about me. It just so happened that because I was a mascot, I met Bianca. Like, I met Bianca and Will at the beginning of the semester, because Will was a freshman on the football team. So, of course, I knew who he was. Not knowing him personally, but I knew he was the only white boy on the football team. And Bianca was like any other freshman at every football game, sitting front and center with the pep club. So as the mascot, I met her through that. So Audrina was a band manager at the time, so I knew her because I traveled with the marching band. Anya and I were friends at the time, and she was a dance girl in the band. I was the mascot. Deidre and I had been friends since freshman year. She was a cheerleader. I was the mascot. Rodney and I are from the same hometown, so we knew of each other already. Orlando and I was in an organization together. So everybody legitimately and organically knew each other. So we knew what buttons to push, what not to push, and it was a loyalty thing there. Like, we knew how far to go with each other, but we honestly were all our own person, and we weren't trying to be like anybody else that we've seen on TV, because prior to us, there was no other Black show. So it was really just us being ourselves. And at the end of the day, Virginia State is lit. Like, we just have so many personalities there, as any HBCU. But when you get a group of friends together in unfamiliar territory, we come together. And eventually we knew what we needed to do to make a good show. And that was just be honest and really share our stories of auditioning for things and might not make it. Relationship issues, you know, dealing with boyfriend girlfriend drama on campus, me with coming out. You know, Anya was splitting her time with being in the house and being with her boyfriend, because we literally went from our everyday student lives. Mind you, we were all active in student life. We had a football player, basketball player, the mascot, the dancer, cheerleader. Audrina was on the boxing team. I mean, we all literally, and Orlando had just came out Omega Psi Phi, so we all literally were stopped what we were doing that Friday. We got picked up in the College Hill bus Friday, moved into the house Friday, going into homecoming. So Saturday was homecoming. The second day of us in the house was homecoming. So we literally had to stop being our regular campus selves, and now we're in this fishbowl where literally was a camera in every corner of the house, plus a physical crew following us. So for the first 2 weeks, it was like culture shock, like, wow, we're really filming this. What is it going to look like? What are we going to do? Because if you look at our clothes, we weren't worried about how we looked on camera. People was out there, doobies half done, sleep in our eye. We was wearing like clothes on the show that we probably wore to bed. Like, it really was just like, it was just I can't explain it now, because College Hill now is way different. They got glam, they got hair, they got makeup, they got wardrobe. Like, it's a whole different production now, but we were raw and we were honest.
Well, some of them scenes in College Hill Celebrity Edition, they definitely don't be all glammed up. Like, some of them, like, it be some where it's like, man, listen, this is real life, because everybody don't just get.
Call it without her wig on, okay? That's what I can tell you.
And we're gonna talk about season 2 of Celebrity Edition at the end.
I want to know your opinion.
We're gonna definitely talk about it. We're gonna definitely talk about it. But let me ask you this. So, you know, we did the interview last year, and you talked about, you know, how you already were popular on campus because you were the mascot, and you had a lot of other things that were going on. But, you know, what was different about your popularity on campus and even just in the world when the season premiered?
Whoa. I would say our season, the fan favorite for our season was Rodney. The ladies love Rodney. The gay guys love Rodney. Everybody loved Rodney. Nice skin, nice smile. He had body and tattoos. I think he was even on our promo picture with his shirt off, you know? So everybody loved, even the people at BET at the time that were working with us, everybody loved Rodney. And then there was me. And then there was the Ray, the overtop funny gay guy. So it was always Rodney and I, in terms of how that went with the reception of the show. And, you know, Rodney went on to do, he hosted Rap City, and then I went on and did some other things. So we were always parallel of each other, like going up and just going out onward. And I think everybody had an opportunity on that show because, excuse me, I remember the ladies from our cast got to do a cover shoot for King Magazine while we were in Miami. So like there was so many opportunities coming our way. And it was just endorsements and things that we were not prepared for, things we didn't know about. Like we were like social influencers before it was a social influencer. We were brand ambassadors before we knew you were supposed to get paid for it. Like it was just like, oh, we in college and we getting free live mechanics and free all kind of clothes and free iPads, free iPods, free this, free that. So we really just lived in the moment. We weren't trying to cut each other down. We weren't trying to see who could outdo the other. We were literally just taking what we could get because, again, we were in Petersburg, Virginia. And now we're in New York on 106 in Park. We're in Miami at Spring Bling, kicking it with Keisha Cole and Chris Brown and Trey Songz and LL Cool J and all these people. Then we're in LA at the BET Awards on the red carpet with Wendy Williams telling us we them bad college kids, you know? So it's just, for us, we took that in and I feel like we really lived in that moment. Not to the point where we all wish we could do it again, but it shaped us to who we are and what opportunities are out there if you position yourself and align yourself with something greater. And that was, at the time for us, that was BET, and that's what College Hill ended up being for us. And that's why the different seasons hold the show, I think, so close to us, and we're like cousins. We got a group chat. We're all in it, whether we all get along or not. But we have a respect for each other because we went through something that no one else went through at that time. And again, we're the first, we're the blueprint. And they used to always laugh at me when I used to say that, but it's the truth now. Because how many shows now put ensembles together, strangers in the house, and let them just go crazy and go wild and do stuff like that. Like, No Shade to Celebrity Edition, they intro mimics our intro, the first and the second one. So now they got a mascot in there. Shout out to Ray. Ray is the mascot in the new one. So again, I think everybody's just in a grateful place. Like, I think the cast members, besides myself, because I work in entertainment, I think they see it now. Like, most of them have kids. Their kids are able to stream it and see their moms and dads now, or their nephews and nieces can see their uncles now, their aunts. And again, the TikTok reenactments are hilarious. Every Thursday, we're going to get a throwback video. Crystal and Vanessa's fight will never go away. The cognac will never go away. Cal and the ribs will never go away. No matter what celebrity you put on there, they'll always reference us. So it is what it is.
So I know you saw the video that I did when I interviewed China Lovelace for J15. And, I asked her from the Shade Room, I asked her, like, what made her go to VSU, right? And I wasn't expecting the answer because, she hopped on. I said, hey, want to do the interview? And then I asked her, and then she said she lived in LA and she watched College Hill. And I was like, I gotta put this on Pulse to tag her. I knew you were gonna see it, but it hit me in that moment because I deal in media and I study, the effects of media, the ratings numbers, the correlation with other factors. But when you look at the impact of College Hill, for all the things that people said, like it was negative, it was buffoonery, all these different things about really all of the seasons, it got a lot of folks to go to college, especially young people, because that's what they were looking for, like China. So how do you grapple with that impact? Like, do you see the impact of College Hill, and how do you see it?
I definitely see the impact of College Hill. It's funny because my family's been very much involved in my career since I've started, whether they agree with everything they see or not. And it's funny now, like my dad is 75, my mother, we don't say ladies' ages. She's of a lady of a particular age, but they're tickled right now that this show is back, and it has the notoriety that it has because, again, when the shows were airing in their original years that it came on, we were not looked at in a positive light. This was the show that Black folks did not need to go on. We were the original Love and Hip Hop. We were the original everything. Like, we were fussing, we were fighting, we were carrying on, having a good time, we were drinking, but we were still going to class. We were still, most of us, graduating. But this was not the show that the alumni and the fans of HBCUs wanted to see on TV. So now that everybody just loves us all of a sudden, and we're the pioneers and the mothers and the fathers of Black reality TV, and we get so much respect now, we didn't get it then. But we get it now. And so even though we didn't get it then, I knew it would be something bigger later because of the amount of reality shows that have been created and use the same format that we've used, even down to now where people even like mimic our casting, how we were specifically set up. Again, I was the first gay that BET had, and they've had many gays since me. But they saw what worked and what didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Me, I came out on the show. Yeah, I came out on the show. The other characters on television, one identifies and one doesn't, but we were all different within our wells. But had it not gone as well for me, don't think they would have did it again. But I see the impact. I see the influence. I travel with the Black College Expo all over the country, and I meet mothers who watched the show back in the day. I meet their kids who watched the show back in the day that have kids of their own now. They're younger kids like, oh, I saw that during COVID on BET Plus, or oh, I watched it online. Like, there's like at least 3 generations that College Hill has touched, and we've influenced people to either go to college, finish their degree wherever they started college, or to even just consider the option of, hey, college doesn't look that hard. They made it look fun, which it is fun. So it took on a life of its own. And the fact that BET brought it back 18 years after it ended, and it's doing the numbers that it's doing. I mean, College Hill Season 2 has been viral every single day since the show premiered. on a Thursday night at 11 o'clock. Who watches TV at 11 o'clock, especially BET? No shade. But the numbers they did rivaled that of shows that have full budgets, full promo, and full press. That was a surprise. I didn't know the College Hill was coming on at 11 o'clock at Thursday night for the premiere, and they got almost 500,000 viewers. And the tweets, the videos, I mean, just everything. So again, people focus on the celebrity aspect of it, but it's the name College Hill that gets people. Like, people hear College Hill, oh, where is it at? Let me see it. Like, so.
Like, it was, I didn't know either because it came on. So it came on the Wednesday because it premiered on Thursday and it came out early. I didn't know it came out earlier on the app on Wednesday because they did like a special drop for everybody had BG Plus. I didn't know that. That would have made me reviewing it so much easier because I was like stumped. Because I watched it twice. I watched it once for enjoyment, watched it twice to review it, and I was getting to that thing like, oh my God, Jocelyn, let me pause. I'm about to go to sleep. Like, I was so tired.
Hilarious. I'm, of course, through Love and Hip Hop, I know Ray and Jocelyn, but seeing them in this atmosphere where it's way more laid back, way more controlled, but it's not that same element of drama that we come from VH1. So to see Jocelyn still in this mess, that's just who she is.
That's definitely who she is. We're gonna talk about that in a second, but it was just so crazy because like it came out the Wednesday and it aired on BET's linear channel the Wednesday of the Trump town hall and Lakers Warriors. The Warriors won that game, so I was rooting for LeBron, so I was upset. And I'm like, oh, College Hill is on, so I turned to it. And I was like, wow, and you look at the ratings numbers, they got 200,000 on linear. And I'm pretty sure it got even more when you go to BT Plus because everyone's asking when they see the clips, man, what is this show on? Like, where is it? But a piece of College Hill, even in the celebrity edition, especially in the first season, that I saw a lot of was personal growth because I think that India grew so much. And I think with Amber, as long as she stays on there, we'll talk about that in a second. But Amber, for the most part, she has grown. This episode 3, we saw her grow. So we
haven't seen episode 3 yet.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about episode 3, but just know it's not spoiler. But she grows a little bit. But like, I want to ask you about your personal growth because I think we talk about the impact and the influence. But how did you personally grow filming College Hill season 3?
Oh my God, season 3. Let's see, that was 20 years ago. Well, 18 years ago. I was 20 years old. I was 20. I was 19, turning 20 or something like that. I was Ray. I wasn't Mr. Ray. I wasn't the person that was super outspoken. Now, granted, I'm the life of the party. I have a great time. I avoid conflict. I'm just there to go along. I go along to get along. I was always that kind of guy. And then I did College Hill and I started like realizing the power that I had and the influence that I had just with me endorsing things, me speaking on things, me supporting certain projects and certain people. And then looking around at the circle of people that I was connected to, hanging out with the type of people that I was now hanging out with and photographed with and getting invited to their houses and called to do stuff off. I call it offline, where basically, consulting people, helping advise them with different things that I was knowledgeable of, things that I had my degree in, things that I did well. I was being sought out for that more than being an actual talent on camera. Like, my goal has never been to be a reality star. I know a lot of people just want to be on TV and host clubs for the rest of their life. That's not what I do. That's not what I want to do then or now, because my cast will tell you when the show was airing, I was at BET in the office working in LA. While we still were airing. Like, I was talent. I was an employee during the day and I was talent at night. And I will say that I'm still that way. I'm still about the bag. I'm still about working. I like to have fun. I don't mind being on camera. I know I'm funny. I know that people enjoy me to a certain extent because otherwise I'd have been canceled and gone like a lot of other people. So I'm still here. I'm not a one-trick pony. And one thing that I learned from this show and working at BET and then supporting BET over the years, even though I've been on other networks, is that the relationship that you build are very important because a lot of people that were interns in lower level positions back in 2006, 2007, 2008, while I was at the network working, now are executives there. The young lady who runs College Hill right now, shout out to Mimi Blanchard. Mimi was there when I was there, and she's been there since then. So she's been at that network for 18 years. So Of course, they're going to call who they know, Mr. Ray, Dorian, Willie Matt. You know, they're going to call the people that they remembered were a part of the conversation then. So that's what just makes this BET situation like a family thing. And I want people to understand, you know, it's not all at the time it was Deborah Lee. Now it's who is the president of BET now?
I forgot. I'm not, and I hate to say that because I like to be prepared, but I honestly forgot. Is it
It's not Connie Orlando, but Connie Orlando.
She's over programming.
But what you don't know, Connie Orlando actually used to work on the production of College Hill when it first started.
Are you for real? Like what?
And Tiffany Leah, who's the head of development at BET, also was a producer on College Hill as well.
Wow.
Again, it's in the family. It's in the family. So that's what I've learned about relationships, being loyal, relationships and being loyal. That goes a long way in this business, especially in a Black network.
Exactly. So the president of BET is Scott M. Mills, and I was about to trip up because I was about to say Stephanie Mills. I really was.
I've heard his name, but he's not like as out in the media and flashy. Like I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what Deborah Lee just was so synonymous just to me with what BET was like, from even like the criticism to the success, because like I loved what she turned BET into. Like she turned BET into what it is now, which is more so a lot of scripted television. And yet being Mary Jane, they brought the game back. They had the choir. I love the choir. I was connected to the choir when I was at Fort Valley. I bring them to campus.
That was a little outrageous. I'm not going to lie to you, because you know how conservative HBCU folks are just conservative as church folks. So when you got us doing anything but stepping on the yard, marching in the band, and cheerleaders, they're looking like,
well, I mean, with the quad, see, the part I thought was the most outrageous was what they had Dr. Fletcher doing. Like her having, you know, the affair with the student. Like that was the part, to me, that was outrageous. Everything else, I mean, like we don't want to talk about it, but a lot of the elements of what the quad was showing happens. And I think that not putting it on Front Street, I think people don't want to put it on Front Street, you know, and it was like the opposite of different world.
You want to respect tradition and legacy. And again, that was the issue with College Hill. We did nothing wrong on season 3. We were in a hot tub, fully clothed in the water. And when Bianca took her top off, she was underwater. You saw no nipple, no areola, no nothing. She held herself the entire time until she got a towel. She asked one of the Qs for a towel. They gave it to her. She wrapped herself up and she started, you know, pleading her case. So again, we never did anything wrong, but with the idea of college kids from an HBCU in a hot tub, half naked with red cups, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, our house was beside a church.
I didn't know that. It was beside a church.
There's a lot of things you don't know about season 3. Our mansion that we filmed in it's called the Raglan Mansion. If you Google it, that was a slave trade mansion.
I think I did. Didn't y'all talk about that in season 3? I think I talked about that.
I don't know if we talked about it, but we actually shot an episode where we went through that house with some paranormal experts to look for, because we used to hear stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's 5 floors in that house. We only filmed on 3. Production was in the back. So those other 2 floors were supposedly vacant. And we used to hear stuff in the middle of the night, moving around up there. And we thought it was production trying to be funny. Until one day, it was like an off day. And a couple of us were just in the house and it was downtime, like there were no cameras up. And we were all downstairs on the first floor, and we heard commotion up, like, whoa.
Hey,
How do you not about that? I believe in God. I don't do spirits and voodoo and all that other mess. But in that moment, I was like, Jesus, keep me near all your crosses, okay?
Hey, and the cross was across the street. The cross was across the street. The church was right there. You know what I'm saying? It was right there. So listen, I want to talk to you about season 2 with Celebrity Edition, but I have 2 more questions for you. So one of the questions is going to be about the book, because I want to know about your chapter in the book. But here's another question that I have. And, you know, I want to go back to the interview that I did with season 2 of you know, with Langston University. And, you know, one thing that we talked about, that was the biggest thing we talked about, was really just like how negative like the reception was for that season, because season 1 and season 2 of the original version were different, because season 1 it was like they were in college. It was like a docuseries about college. Season 2 they're off campus and there's a lot of other things that were happening, so it got a lot of bad reception. So for you all, did you all feel the brunt of like sort of how people were thinking about season 2 going into season 3?
Honestly, I'm gonna be very honest, and I'm not being shady when I say this. Seasons 1 and 2 were produced and casted by whoever BET had contracted at the time, and that's when they were Black owned. When season 3 came along, that is when we were the first project that they produced under Viacom. So there was bigger budget, brand new production company, different casting directors, which means that we had our casting directors worked with MTV. Our executive producer came from Real World. Shout out to Sean Rankin, who's still the executive producer of the series. So with Sean and the new casting directors and the new production coming from a Viacom larger MTV-ish standpoint, the look was different. The casting was different because they knew what they were appealing. They were looking to appeal to a broader audience because they wanted to bring more viewers into the series as well as the network. So I think that with the casting of season 1 and 2, which they were all dynamic, different personalities, I would say that our casting was strategic. They wanted the gay character. They wanted the over-the-top female that was a little stuck up and a little stuffy. They wanted one that was a little bit more ghetto fabulous. They wanted one that was a little rough around the edges. They wanted the frat guy. They wanted the guy that Will was a wild card. I don't think BET even knew we had a white boy on campus, but he was a white boy that had Black personality and Black swag, and he was cool, and he wasn't forcing it. That's just how Will was. And then, of course, you had the ladies' man. You had Rodney. So I think going into season 3, they were way more strategic with what they wanted to see and how they wanted the direction of the show to go.
I love that. I love that, because the reason why I asked that is because it's like, you have the brunt of what happened before often. So it's like if people are like, oh man, this is wild, this is crazy, you know what I'm saying? And then like, do you have like the responsibility to sort of cleaning that up? But I have to ask you about this. So we're here because you're in the book, The HBCU Experience, America's first Black reality TV series. And you are the ambassador of College Hill. Like, you are the face of College Hill at this point. Because Rodney and Rodney, my dog, I never met Rodney. I'm pretty sure I'm going to meet him really soon. Yeah, Rodney was my guy just watching this series. I'm pretty sure I'm going to interview him soon. But like, he was on maybe the box for the DVD. But you're the face now, 20 years later. So what is your chapter about?
They all call me. We have a group chat. We're all in it. They call me like the mother or the uncle, the mother, whatever you want to call it. But I do keep us together. And in my chapter, as the lead author of this book, shout out to Dr. Ash Little for this grateful moment and opportunity. I'm grateful for that moment. Excuse me. My chapter is pretty much an introduction for the book. Over the years, I have been in the media more than others at times. And then there's been times where I've been able to tell my story more than once. I actually wrote a book, so my story's been told. And the purpose of me putting this group together to do this project with the HBCU experience was that I wanted their stories to be shared as well. I wanted people to know how they felt. Because it's always, Ray, what's the rest of them doing? I don't want to keep speaking for them. I want them to tell you what they're doing and how they felt. I know how they felt because we've talked about it over the years. We've texted about it. We know it. We lived it together. We bonded over some of these moments. But I wanted people to hear from them directly how they felt, how it impacted them. And I think the group that we have, the 15 in that book, they tell some amazing stories. Some stuff I didn't even know about. And as the lead author, the introduction just basically pretty much summarizes our experience of being on this show, going into it blindly, not knowing what to expect, then living through it, and then 20 years later, pretty much still living in those moments, like having, some people are married now, people have kids, so they're having to explain to their kids, about situations that are on social media. They're having to explain to their loved ones about, the relationships they have with some of the people that's on the series, having to explain to co-workers and employers, like, that was 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine Vanessa and Crystal going in for a job as a counselor at a school, at high school, and they're like, oh, they was fighting on TV. She made her bleed. Like, so it's different. This show affected everybody differently. It wasn't so much negative for me. It was more so for me, my thing that I've talked to you about was just coming out on national television and then having to just, sit down and break bread with my family about what they already knew. But now it's the church folks know, and the co-workers know, and everybody else knows. I mean, I don't know how they didn't know, but whatever. But this was just me basically introducing the world into our world, who we are, because again, we were pre-social media. So a lot of people, once their show ended, they kind of sort of went on about their regular lives and got jobs, got married, had kids, never talked about College Hill again. And then all of a sudden we got these streaming apps and we're back out there again and getting random text messages and tweets now about, oh, I saw this. And what did you mean when you said that? Like, people still bringing up stuff that Tyra Banks said on America's Next Top Model, trying to cancel her over and over and over and over. And I was like, they must not have watched College Hill, because I know we said some of everything every season. So I just wanted everybody to get their fair opportunity and a platform to share the story with the world, because College Hill isn't just about me or anybody else who's currently on TV. It's about us as a collective. 8 of us made every season.
I love it. Hey, that was amazingly stated. And typically we end the interview and ask, where can we find you on social media? But it's Mr. Ray. So that's not going to happen, because we're going to talk about season 2. When I saw you going on, I'm like, we're going to talk about season 2. We talked about the book. We did our interview last year and we talked about season 1. But
y'all were fussing last year, asking, why was the celebrities? Are they going to class? What kind of when they didn't get a degree? What kind of certificate are they getting? There's not enough student life involvement, and then the kids were.
I didn't say that.
And then the kids were doing interviews saying that they filmed all these scenes and nothing got shown. It ain't about them. It's about the
you saw those interviews? You saw them?
The boy cheerleader was going in, like, we did all that, and they didn't even show us. It ain't about you.
Because for me, because I enjoyed season 1. I thought season 1 was very positive. My thing was, and I even said it.
It was safe with the names they had.
Exactly. And my thing was, when it came to season 1, is that I enjoyed it and I thought it was positive. I just wanted to see more of the interaction that we're seeing this season. But what I understand now, especially seeing this season, is that, and also hearing behind the scenes, there were COVID restrictions. It was still technically COVID, so they couldn't be at Hump Wednesday. They couldn't really interact the way that we saw. I believe that was episode 2. You had Orion and Tiffany on the yard talking to students.
Hang out with the kids.
That's all I wanted. If I saw Slim Thug interacting with, I would have been like, yo, I'm cool. I'm perfectly fine. But I didn't see that. And that was how I felt about it. But overall, just to start off, how do you feel about season 2 thus far, these first 2 episodes?
I think season 2 has blown season 1 out of the water in terms of the casting. Like this, I love season 1 cast. Those will always be, because I got to film with them, so I will always have a special connection with them. Shout out to Nene and Frida and India and Dream and Lamar. I'm Frida. I'm missing somebody, Ray, and somebody else. Who am I missing?
You said Lamar. Did you say India?
India, because I actually travel with India's sister Crystal right now, who went to Texas Southern. She's a part of the Black College Expo with me. But as far as season 2, Sean Rankin and BET and Tracy Emmons knew what they was doing.
They did.
Aislinn, New York, Amber Rose. Those 3 right there alone. Like, the guys do not compare to the women. The women run this
Ray
show.
J. We got to give it to Ray J. Ray J does compare.
Ray J is not in the mix. He knows he's back to pass, to hopefully graduate.
Hopefully.
But Ray J knows how to carry a scene. He knows how to, I call it in-scene directing. He knows what to do. But again, Ray J know, like I know, this is Jocelyn Hernandez. Ain't no directing her. Ain't no cues, ain't no lines. You gonna get what you get, however she's feeling. Like, I've actually shot a movie with Parker. She and I were in The Assistant together that was on Tubi with Erica Mena. Shout out to Chris Stokes for that. And I know Parker. She's chill. She's hi. So when I saw she got locked out of her room, I felt so bad because she genuinely is just such a sweet. She calls me Uncle Ray. Like she's such a sweet girl, and I was excited to see her on there, but I didn't talk to her while she was filming. Well, I see why. She was locked out of her room. She couldn't get her phone. And then the thing about it was, I was so glad this is not a Love and Hip Hop environment, because when she got up and stormed off and was still talking shit like rude mother, old Jocelyn from Love and Hip Hop would have followed up right behind her. It was like, what was said?
But to Parker, like Parker's so cool. Like that was Jocelyn's fault. It was her fault.
She didn't want to be bothered. But to avoid it, but this is how I commend Jocelyn, saying that she has shown growth. This is what she did. She said, you can find another room and it won't be no problem. You find somewhere else to sleep and it won't be no issues. You got to worry about the door being locked.
She can't do that though, like that for me, because like Parker and I are around the same age range, and because I thought she was like 10 years older than me. She was on My Wife and Kids. I thought she was like 10 years older than me, but I'm like, wow, like she's like maybe like a year older than me. So I automatically, last year India identified with her. Of course, me being younger, I identified with Parker. So I'm like, Parker ain't coming with no drama. Like she's doing yoga. Like she's super happy. She got her first day of school fit on. Like SpongeBob, I'm ready. Like you gonna do that to her of all people? Like that was the part that really sort of got to me. And I came up with an idea. And maybe you can workshop this with the producers at BET, because you connect to them in season 3. Because we're talking about college life and HBCU life. Maybe we need a residential assistant or a residential life coordinator to make sure everything's all good. They check in. You have a non-celebrity residential life coordinator to give them the keys. And when people get locked out, to unlock the room, because that's what they did for us in college. Maybe that's what's needed. Maybe.
Season 1 actually had an RA. Shout out to Avery. He was
really?
Season 1 had 9 cast members. He was Avery. He was the RA. He just wasn't in the cast picture, but he was definitely on the show. I don't think a RA is, or a house mother is needed for college show, because none of us had one. You get in where you fit in. And again, these are huge personalities. This is, everyone knows of everyone, which I love on this cast. Like, Iman is married to Tiana. Quay is TT, which I was surprised to see him not dressed up like TT. He was Quay. So I don't know Quay. I know TT. But I love Quay though. I've met Quay a couple times, but again, he got booked because he's TT. Parker from My Wife and Kids? I think you do. Jocelyn might not have watched it, but you definitely know Jocelyn. You definitely know Amber Rose. You might not know what Amber Rose sound like, because she used to be mute all the time. She was quiet. She was quiet a lot. She used to do a lot of interviews. And you definitely know who New York is.
For sure.
Orion is a toss-up. He's a toss-up. I know who he is because, the business I'm in.
I thought Orion was Omarion. I thought for my whole entire life, because I realized I heard his single. I thought Orion was like Omarion, and then I saw the verses of them with the watermelon, and I'm like, oh, these are two different people.
By me being here, I've been here and living in LA since 2006, so I knew that I knew Janae from way back in the day, so I knew that was Janae's baby daddy. I knew that a lot of these big celebrities have younger siblings. They got babies with celebrities. So I knew of Orion and who he was. I knew about the OnlyFans. I knew about the watermelon thing. But he's little, and so is his brother. They short. So and then you got Iman. He's married, so you can't play with him. And then Ray J's back, and as you see, Jocelyn checked him. You can't play with Ray J. So I thought this was perfect casting. Tiffany and Orion, whatever they got going on, I think that is great TV, because everybody knows Tiffany is a helpless romantic. She can't help it, but she just said that she had a fiance that's white.
But so I gotta ask you,
try to make his eyes big. I don't know.
I gotta ask you about that though, because she said that when injustice happens to Black folks, she can't look at her white fiance the same. And all I know is that I try my best to be secure as a man. But if my fiance said that, the engagement is off. The doors to the house are locked like how Jocelyn locked it on Parker. Like, we ain't engaged no more.
I never knew New York was engaged. I'm gonna need to see a picture to believe all that. But what she says is true. Again, that's. I mean, when she said it, I remember watching it like, oh, she said that. Okay. First of all, I can't see Sister Patterson being cool with no white man. I just don't see that for her. But if that's who New York has found love with, then hey. But I was definitely thrown off by that comment, only because I believe Parker is mixed, and I believe Amber Rose is mixed, right?
Both of them are, yeah, both of them mixed. Mm-hmm.
They're mixed as well. And so I'm just curious to know, like, how they felt when they heard her say that, because I heard Parker say those conversations makes her uncomfortable when they talk about race relations. And then I don't want to get too much into Amber Rose, because I don't talk about folks and their religion and what.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about. Okay, let me ask you this. So, it has the religious part of it, because I personally think that it was a little bit disrespectful that she didn't learn the alma mater. Just personally, I'm a former orientation leader for 4 years. For like 4 of my years at Fort Valley, because I graduated in the fall, so I did fall 2019 as well. So I did 4 straight orientations, and I know Fort Valley's alma mater first and second stanza. And I was teaching my freshmen the first and second stanza. Now, granted, the Fort Valley alma mater does not have anything about God in it. However, I know both, and I taught them. But that's the hymn is the alma mater. That's the history of the school. That's what ties you, to the past. Like, so, like, I just like that was the part that really just got to me, is like, that's your HBCU. And if you're going to an HBCU, it's gonna be religious undertones, because that's what Black folks are. And that's been our history. That's how I felt about it.
Started through the Black church, right?
Yeah, and there are a lot of HBCUs that were started by churches.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just sort of like,
That was interesting. And then I understood where Quay was coming from in terms of him being uncomfortable, how he was raised, Southern Christian in the church, and then to just hear some, like, even now when you hear somebody say something crazy about church or God, you're like, woo, child, keep that on over there. Like, so, and she's very adamant about it. And then when they were telling the stories about atheism, and she just clapping and cheering on, like, you're trying to get a reaction out of Quay, because you know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like it was just, I don't like talking about religion, because it brings out the worst side of people. Like, Quay had no issues with Amber prior to that. He never even knew she was an atheist, so they got in his house. And then, for the conversation they were having, how she kept going in on about it and just trying to drive her point home. And it just was all. And then New York started singing a hymnal that I've never heard.
It was off key. It was so off key. And it was just crazy, because like, New York wasn't doing it to rile up, because I don't think at that point they knew. That's just sort of who New York is. Like, I just feel like the 5 or 6 stanzas at the end that are about God. It's not like she's singing like a Donnie McClurkin song, like, we fall down but we get up. Like, she's not singing it. It literally is 5 or 6 lines, and she don't even got to learn that, because it was like, hey, we're gonna put you in groups, and we're gonna have you learn the first few. So that was the part that to me, because it wasn't really the religion part, because I know folks that are atheists. I got folks that I love that are atheists, and it's not really, that's not really a thing to me. It's more so just like, from the HBCU standpoint, and I come from, that's a little bit disrespectful. You know what I mean? That was just sort of where I came from with it. But I gotta ask you this though, like, specifically, because we talked about it. But Jocelyn versus New York, to me, is like a dream matchup. Like, that's like LeBron versus Jordan.
And then the concept, the subject matter about her dog being her daughter, and how that was misinterpreted, that is natural drama. Jocelyn legitimately thought that New York had lost a daughter.
But how? How could she have thought that? Like, she said the thing about the dog. I lost
my daughter. She didn't say dog to Jocelyn.
But at first she did. At first she did when they first got there. She did at first.
I don't remember that. I remember her talking about she had a dog with Quay and with Amber Rose. Jocelyn was never in the room with Tiffany.
But because I'm gonna tell you how it happened. Because when they first moved in, she was talking to Quay, and they were back there in the backyard. She said that she gained 20 pounds, and she walked up to Jocelyn and said, "Jocelyn, I gained 20 pounds because I lost my dog." He was like, yeah, no, she said her dog the first time, and it was like, and Jocelyn was like, a dog, like you crying over a dog, and then like it was just a real big thing. New York was like, what? Where are you talking about my dog? Then they came back, and she said, "I lost my daughter," and then she was like, "Oh my gosh, you lost your daughter!" Like for us, we saw like the dog, then the daughter part in the show, the first part, and then the second part.
She told Jocelyn, "I lost my dog." Jocelyn said, "I don't relate to that. That's not my thing." So that's out of her mind. Now you saw her later, "I lost my daughter." So now she's clocked in like, "Oh my God, I have a daughter."
That's true.
"Oh my God, you lost your daughter? That's so messed up." She's really, and then they tried to bond and do the yoga thing, whatever. Fast forward, now this has been filmed. Now fast forward on camera, she finds out from Parker, it's not a daughter like a human, it's a dog. And so that's why she made that face like, "Bitch, I'm gonna look stupid. Now she's trying to play me, and I'm gonna get her ass." So that's why she went at her the way she's like, "You told me you lost your daughter." She was like, "I did lose my daughter." She said, "No, you lost a dog." She's like, "But I told you I lost a dog. My dog is my daughter." And again, Jocelyn already said she didn't grow up with animals. She's not a pet person. So this whole connecting a dog to a human feeling of being my child, she's not getting that. All she knows is you lied to her. And she interpreted that your daughter dying was an actual child. Yeah. And she believed it and she felt sorry for you. Now to find out on camera from another roommate. So basically everybody else knows that this is a dog.
What's up, Amon? Amon didn't know. Sorry, Amon didn't know.
And he felt the same way. He like this shit. Like, I agree. I got a daughter, 2 daughters. So I know exactly how you feel. I didn't know because Amon wasn't even there for the conversation at all. All he heard was my daughter died, and he's like, "Damn, that's effed up." So I get how the but that was good TV. You can't stage that. That's you not can't. Staged.
you can't like it wasn't. But let me ask this because you are a reality TV OG. I saw a tweet. Yeah, you are because you part of the first one. So it's like you are clearly you're like OG, like God, and then everybody else.
OG confused just because you've been on 15, 20 shows, pointless shows, does not make you an OG.
That's true.
That makes you a consistent worker. And OG means you're the first of your kind in your class and in your lane. So College Hill is that.
Exactly. Yeah. We got to move on because we'll want to be like shots fired. We end on the shade room, even though this is my 3rd time. I love to be back on it. But like, let me ask you about this. Like, someone said in a tweet that they said that New York was working Jocelyn, and it was almost like she was manipulating Jocelyn to get the reaction that she wanted. Do you think that was what was happening?
So I don't think so because when she explained to Quay, "Oh, my daughter died. I had her 13 years, blah, blah, blah." When you say something, this the way she was referencing the daughter, Quay got it. "Oh, I have a dog too. That's my kid. I relate right away. But I have many dogs. Well, they're not just mine. My sister has 2 dogs. My grandmother has a dog. But as you see on my social media, I always have an animal with me somewhere." So again, I get it. But y'all have to understand, New York went to community college for 2 days. Jocelyn, I don't know where she started or ended in school. So their levels of comprehension are way different. And I'm saying that nicely. And I just think it was literally a misunderstanding.
I get it.
And you don't know the state of mind they were in. We don't know how many hours had passed in between that or how many cocktails they might have had by then. Because if you tell me something I'm not interested in, I'm an Aries and I have ADHD, I'm going to tune you out. You tell me something 3 hours later that's interesting to me, I'm going to pay attention to forget the first thing you said to me. And it might be about the same thing, just spoken differently, and I'm not going to connect the two. So I see Jocelyn's side and I see New York's side. I see both.
I understand. So I want to ask this one last thing because it's so crazy that you, of course, were in the episode that determined Ray J's fate because you hosted the poetry jam, and then Ray J called in that FaceTime, and then he plagiarized his homeboy, and you were there. So, like, what is your breakdown of that? What's your breakdown of the whole entire thing?
So, when we had filmed that scene in Houston, Texas, I thought Ray was going to be there. And then I found out he had left. He had to go do something else. And I thought he was, but he ended up coming. Like I ended up seeing Ray like after all that was done. Like he came like for the photo shoot. I saw him we were together for the photo shoot. I was there at the photo shoot for season 1. That was the day after that scene. And I heard what he was reading on the FaceTime. And I took it to heart because I know him personally outside of TV, and I knew what he was dealing with at the time. And then there was what I was reading online, like the rest of you. And it really played into the narrative of him just feeling like he wasn't a good dad, a good husband, a good brother, a good son, a good person. And I was honestly a little worried about his mental health at that point because I was like, going from Love and Hip Hop, then doing the family reunion, and then going to do College Hill. And then he was filming College Hill while he was filming Love and Hip Hop Miami. And we saw that season of Love and Hip Hop Miami where he and Princess were going back and forth. And I love them both. It was playing out on camera. And like how Candy said, Atlanta Housewives, bouncing from SWV Escape Show to Atlanta Housewives and just put her on edge. And I felt like he was on edge. And then with what he was saying, I felt it was personal, but then to find out that someone else wrote it and that it might have been plagiarized, I didn't feel any kind of way because some of those things that were said in that poem, and I don't know if they played it in its entirety on air or not. I heard it in its entirety. Those were things that I feel like he either told the person that wrote it or he put that in there himself because there were some personal things that I knew to be factual in what he said. So I don't want people to think that he's just a total plagiarism person. Like he didn't play. I don't feel like he did that. Now, were some parts maybe borrowed or revised or interpreted from someone else? I don't know because I wasn't there when it happened, but I know that there were certain things he said in that poem that struck a chord with me and that I knew to be true. And I felt for him. And I wish he was there in that actual moment. You know what I'm saying? Just because of who we are, who he and I are in the background that we share with each other. So yeah.
So do you think he should have, basically gotten like, well, basically he didn't graduate. So do you think they should have held him back?
Man, see, I wasn't there. I wasn't there for their class assignments. From what I saw online, he did miss a lot of class. I don't know if teachers take off points for anything, how you dress, how you conduct yourself. There's weekly check-ins. Like I just graduated grad school. I got a grade for submitting a paragraph assignment about what I wanted my next topic to be for our next paper. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a whole test grade. So there's little things that count towards your grade that people don't understand. They ain't just about going to the class. It's other stuff that you have to do there. And I wasn't there to see the other assignments that the professors gave these celebrities to do in this short window period of time. But again, for India, who never went to college and we saw extreme growth, Dream with her growth, Slim with his growth, Frida with her growth, Nene with what she accomplished, and Lamar with what he was able to do, and he has brain injuries. I'm not comparing them to Ray J, but I felt like Ray J had the advantage over everybody because Ray J was actually enrolled in college previously at Philander Smith.
Yes, 3 different colleges. I brought it up in my recap episode too. 3 different colleges.
Mm-hmm. So again, it's the element you gotta understand. Ray J works in television. That's all his life has been. That's what most of his life has been, is on camera, making good TV, making people laugh, promoting what he got a plan and keep it moving. But I think he realized with College Hill, as they realized with season 2, these professors are not playing about their university and the work that they do in their class, because this speaks for the educator that they are and the time that they put in away from their families and loved ones to bring forth the future. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love it. Like we could go on and on, talking about College Hill, but the Lakers are about to play in a second, and then they are
about to play. We're going to win this fucking game.
We need to win. Wait, we need to win it because Jokic ain't playing. So I'm about to go watch that. But listen, it was amazing speaking with you. So the HBCU Experience, America's first Black reality TV series. It comes out on Amazon on May the 31st. You are the co-lead on it. And Ray J actually wrote the forewords. It's amazing. So many other amazing College Hill cast members from all of the seasons are on the show.
All of you guys, Delano, Gabe, Veronica, Kenda, Brittany, Rodney, Bianca, Crystal, Idisha, Willie, Kashif, Anthony and Tiffany, I so appreciate you guys for participating in this book. I can't wait for everybody to read it. I can't wait to read about what you guys wrote, and you guys are really going to enjoy it. This is really a collector's item. We're making history for the second time. Not only are we the first Black reality series, but we're the first Black TV series to have an anthology book series.
Yes,
we're the first book. So it's some people, oh, that ain't nothing. No, it's something, because
it's big.
It's big because legally we had to get approval for every little thing. You see, we don't say the name College Hill anywhere.
Yo, yeah, as someone that does this business thing, I peeped that. I peeped it.
So we're the first Black TV series to have a collection of stories together as an anthology. So I'm glad to be making history a second time, 20 years later, with this family of people. So
I love it. I love it. So before we go, like I said, you're the ambassador of College Hill, and people got to really see that you are. So people really got, and you know, that's the thing, you got to know what you are. So
I'm proud of what the show is. I'm proud of who I've become. I'm proud of what I've seen the other cast members achieve and do in their professional and personal lives. I'm proud of the impact we've had on people going to college. I'm proud that BET brought it back, and they're expanding it to now celebrities who didn't get the opportunity to experience what we wanted to that we experienced. So I'm just proud of it all the way around, and I have media management skills. Shout out to that master's degree from Virginia State. So being the in charge person, or being the person that gathers everybody around, that's just naturally what I do. I do that in my family, so doing it with this family is no different.
I love it. So I got to ask about this too. So I want you to let everybody know where they can find you on social media, but also tell them about how Yardopoly is doing as well to close out.
Yardopoly is amazing. It sold out the first go round on the Game Crafter. So natural marketing, when they announced that College Hill was coming back, I put the game right back online on premiere day, and we sold a good number then with that as well. So again, those proceeds go to my scholarship that I give out with the Black College Expo. We go to 12 different cities throughout the year. I split that money up and I give out $1,000 in every city. So it ain't just me having fun, partying with the money. I'm legitimately investing into children to go to HBCU so they can have the same experience I had. So go to thegamecrafter.com, get Yardopoly. There's a standard edition and there's a deluxe edition. It's a little coin, but it's a collector's item. The book is still on Amazon. My original book that was released 2 years ago is still a bestseller on Amazon, top 100 books. So thank you for those of y'all that's still reading about me. And make sure you get this next book, because your boy's about to be a 2-time best-selling #1 author on Amazon. So again, shout out to Dr. Ashley Little for making all this possible. And follow me on all my social medias, Mr. Ray, MISSTERRAY. 804 on Instagram, and just regular Mr. Ray on like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I have a TikTok too. I don't post nothing like that on there. I'm just on there to watch my nephews. But yeah, I'm on TikTok too.
I love it. I love it. Listen, the HBCU Experience, America's first Black reality TV series, coming out May the 31st on Amazon from the HBCU Experience Movement. Ray, I appreciate you so much for coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again. I'll be looking for these other interviews.
Most definitely. All right. And that is it for HBCU Pulse Radio on tonight. We'll see you on the other side.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.